Fresh off of that conversation about, well, wellness extra and yoga, welcome to our extra special. Now, the segment where we explore the human stories behind the headlines. Stories that are sometimes sobering, often surprising, and, well, still necessary for us to talk about. Today, we are turning our attention to a disturbing trend that continues to make international headlines, a drug trafficking involving Nigerians abroad. Now, according to a report by Punch newspapers, yet another Nigerian has been arrested in India for allegedly being in possession of narcotic substances worth over 1.8 billion naira. Authorities say the 45-year-old suspect was found with highly potent MDMA pills concealed in his luggage. If convicted, faces up to 20 years in prison, far away from home, family, and also familiar ground.
But beyond the headline lies a deeper issue: the dangerous pursuit of fast wealth, the vulnerabilities of migration, and the ongoing need for drug education, especially among Nigerian youths. Joining us to break this down is someone on the front lines of this fight. Precious Ofure is the founder of Tender Youth Drug-Free Initiative, an organization working to curb drug abuse and prevent risky behavior among young Nigerians. Precious, thank you so much for joining us today on our Extra Special. Now, this latest arrest is one of many, and it's deeply worrying. So, when you saw the news of this latest arrest in India, what was your immediate reaction, and does this reflect a growing trend?
All right, thanks for having me. Sincerely speaking, when I got the news of this arrest of this young lady, I was actually very, very devastated because based on her age, she's too young to start thinking about making so much money in such a way. Drug trafficking is a very, very dangerous offense. It's a capital offense in every nation of the world, based on the fact that drug abuse is becoming a pandemic in the whole world, is becoming very, very treacherous and very dangerous to both human capacity, productivity, on the physical, mental, social, and behavioral health of every individual. So when I came across the news, it was actually very, very devastating and disappointing. And coming from our own side of the country, you know, we've been having this stigmatization from the world that a lot of crime comes from Nigeria and so on and so forth. And coming from a lady is actually disappointing.
Disappointing indeed. So let's just talk about the growing trend that we're seeing. This young lady's age is quite young. We've seen how drug use have been glamorized in our, whether it's in pop culture, Nigeria's pop culture, music, and the likes. But we've also seen the need to get quick rich, you know, whether it's, you know, from social media or societal pressures. How do all of these play in this growing trend that we're seeing?
Yeah, sincerely speaking, a lot of things have been going on. There's a lot of things that, will I say, the devil or the society are glamorizing, just like you said. We tend to normalize in this current dispensations, we tend to normalize what is abnormal. There are a lot of things going on in the society today that during our time, it was something everybody kicked against. But today, everybody glamorizes it. The music industries, the movies, let's just say the entire entertainment industry glamorize all of these things that are actually working against human productivity. So substance abuse is actually a multifaceted topic, is a broad topic, and sometimes we see the effort of the authorities, the NDLEA, like in Kaduna State where I am, we have what we call the Kadusa. It is a state-owned fight against drug abuse. So there are a lot of things that the government are putting in place, but the government alone is not enough. So everybody has to, all hands must be on deck. Everybody has to come to the reality that everybody is a victim of substance abuse, whether you are directly involved or involved. So it is very, very important for us to just kick against it. Even the musicians that are always walking around with illicit drugs, smoking it around, all these musicians are role models to the young generation. And so when you have a mentor, whatever you see them do, you want to emulate them, because a lot of young people we have had interactions with when it comes to rehabilitation, we got to realize that they idolize all these figures they see as mentors. So when they see them do all these things, they will say, if this person is doing it and is this productive, we too can do it. And they don't know that there's something we call the brain chemistry. The brain chemistry differs from individual to individual. What someone actually consumes and it affects him in a way that seems normal, you might take it and your brain might not accept it. So we just have to put our hands together and deglamorize what has been glamorized or what has been normalized, which is supposed to be abnormal by the society. Every parent, every stakeholders, religious bodies, everybody have to come to terms with the fact that we need to fight what we need to fight so that we can have a substance-free society.
Let's talk about the methods now, Precious. I'm a big fan of one program that I see on international television. It's called Border Patrol. And very often one of the challenges that they have to contend with is drug trafficking across state lines. And there are very interesting ways people conceal these things or take them across borders, whether in planes or just on foot. I'm wondering what you, in your time working with these individuals, are trying to make sure that drug abuse is curtailed in Nigeria. I'm wondering what methods you've seen people here from Nigeria use, and also what method these syndicates also employ as they try to get these drugs across country borders.
From our interactions with users, abusers, and all of that, I will come to realize that they are extremely smart. They are very, very smart. They could traffic these substances in unlikely way. Okay, let me give you an example of a situation a senior colleague of mine had when he was abusing substance some time ago. It was just like when he went to meet a dealer in a hotel, and then he realized some certain schoolgirls, that like about 3 or 4 of them in the hotel room of the dealer. And he was like, as of that time he was using, and he asked the dealer, what are you doing with these young schoolgirls? And the dealer now narrated everything to him. He told him that, okay, I actually got one of them to get hooked up on this particular substance. And then she recruited 3 of her friends. So each time they are leaving the house, they are leaving their house with their uniforms and coming with the intentions of going to school. Their parents are, my children are in school and all of that. But unbeknownst to the parent and every other person, they actually are already abusing substances. They're already hooked up on those substances. When they get to the hotel where the dealer is, with their uniforms, they are going to give them substances and they serve as the distributors. Now, the authorities saddled with the responsibility of fighting illicit drug trafficking and so on and so forth. Seeing young school girls on uniform moving around, you wouldn't suspect that they are distributors of drugs. So dealers are very, very smart. They know how to go about moving their product very, very concealed.
In a concealed manner. I think, Promise, that also now answers... That also answers a question you started with when you talked about the age of the person here concerned. A 20-year-old, you can see that even younger, some of them are already conscripted into this kind of, activity. Judith, please.
Yeah, I mean, Precious, I must ask about, actionable plans. CSOs like yourself and other organizations, what can we do to sort of curb this trend before it blows out? I mean, it's already at this point almost out of hand, or should I say out of hand. What are some steps is it actionable plans, call to the government, media, or even parents at this time?
All right. Based on my own, or let me just say, based on our mission statement here, our vision is to have a substance-free society entirely drug-free initiative. So in a way to help in fight drug abuse, what we believe is that information is key, knowledge is key. By the time you give people evidence-based information about what substance abuse is, what it is and what it's not, a lot of people tend to make informed and responsible decisions. At least before you take, if you have the proper information, there is a standard by the United Nations on drug abuse prevention program and so on and so forth. So by the time you are able to present the populace with the right information, with the right knowledge, let's just put it on a knowledge base, whoever is going to take or going to make any form of decisions when it comes to drug experimentation or anything he wants to do, he is going to first look at the consequences of his actions before actually taking those decisions. Okay, just imagine, for example, you are being told that, okay, substance abuse, this is what it is, this is what it's not. This is the causes, this is the effect, this is the negative consequences. This is how it steals destiny. You give them infographical information. You show them how so if, for example, we go to schools now, based on prevention programs, and we give you knowledge base, we bring all the information that are meant to be there. We let you know that this is what you tend to achieve negatively by using substances. At least when someone is telling you through this, okay, for example, let me just let me digress a little based on our rehabilitation program. During the therapy with one of my patients, I actually told him that, okay, look at, a lot of people could get infected by sharing maybe a stick of cigarette, weed, and so on and so forth. So in the process of our rehabilitation, we know, it's not going to be an outright, it's not going to be an outright withdrawal from the substance. It has to be a gradual process so that in the process of you stopping substances, you don't get into some physical health conditions that are going to be very, very hazardous to your health. So we take it slow. I could remember some days I said, okay, bro, this is how it is. Let me take you away and just, I can see you are tense, you are craving, and so let me just get you a stick. So when we got there, someone was trying to pass him a stick of cigarette. And then he remembered that, okay, from the knowledge I had that, okay, by sharing cigarette, I could get infection. He said, God, I'm not even going to smoke again. Let's be going home. You see, if you with the right information, with the right knowledge, people make very, very informed and responsible decisions. And then secondly, when it gets to the period of addiction, we need to understand that addiction is a disease. And when people become victims of the society by becoming addict, we have to reduce the level of judgments. We have to reduce the level of stigmatization. We have to show them love, respect, and all of that. That is where we get them recover. And from their recovery, they share their life experiences with others, which help them make informed and responsible decisions. I think for now, this is just what I have to present.
Okay, that's interesting. In terms of stats, how many of these do we record, perhaps maybe in a year, a month, a week? Do we have many of these instances where people are arrested outside of the country for carrying drugs through borders?
Yeah, sure. Just like I told you, it is actually a very, very smart move by the traffickers. Very, very smart move. If you see, they send me clips, videos of a lot of all this. You could imagine how someone could just swallow some concealed substances could swallow it, and then when you get to your destination, you can pull it out, and then you know, there are some people who even hid it in their children. A lot of people, we have a lot of cases that statistically, how people are being arrested on a daily basis. It is it's tremendously large. And sometimes we only got to know about this lady, Ifeoluwa, because it came out. But there are some countries that don't even take it lightly with such actions. The moment you are being caught, you are being executed immediately, because a drug addict is worse than a devil. A drug dealer, a trafficker is worse than the devil. And you know one funny thing about drug dealers? If from our work or from experiences with them, the drug dealers don't even abuse the substances they tend to give to the society, because most of them know the negative effect of those particular things. And so they themselves, they don't abuse it, but they sell it to others to destroy themselves. So on a daily basis, we receive news of people being arrested, but some countries don't smile at that. So immediately you are being executed.
Well, that's a typical example of that iconic phrase, don't get high off your own supply. But Precious Ofure, I want to say thank you very much for joining us on this conversation.